Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to our August TBR. Yeah, it's August. August actually is the month that my husband and I are going to be going on our honeymoon. So we have a really fun trip planned. It's gonna be a few weeks. And so I want to have that in mind when I'm picking some of these books because it's gonna be a very atmospheric trip and I wanna have the right books to read. Also, I can't be bringing like really chunky, thick fantasy books on this trip because I'm fully backpacking it. Like I'm going to be living out of a backpack for 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm just also trying to kind of keep that in mind. Any Kindle books is going to be a good option for me. That is what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about picking this TBR. I'm very excited and I have kind of like a list of books already in my mind that I want to have, like that I want to read. So I'm trying to remember that. I'm so bad at remembering books that I want to read when I'm going through this. I just kind of like get in the moment and I completely like forget about books that I have been wanting to like read recently. So let's go ahead and just start picking. I have my jar here that has a bunch of books that have been on my TBR for a long time. These are just specific titles. And then I have my TBR jar. And I went ahead and I added in a bunch of new prompts. The dark colored ones are from last year. This light colored paper is this year's prompts. And then there's actually some new ones in here. These like green colored ones. And those are actually prompts that you guys have said to put in here. So now I'm gonna start putting those in here. And so that's gonna be kind of fun to have some of your prompts in here as well. I never know what I'm gonna pick out of here because I haven't looked at these in a long time. So I'm not really sure actually what like books are actually in here. So it's always quite a surprise when I pick these. So here's the first book, No Freaking Way. I actually already read The Spell Shop. That is this book right here. I read this in June. So I actually have to pick another book, I guess. Interesting. I had no idea that I had that in there. I guess it's good that I already read it because it's in this box. So I guess pick number 2. This one feels like it's been opened before. Let's see. The Lost Queen. I'm so glad that we picked this actually because I've really been wanting to read this book recently. I don't know why, like it's been like on my mind recently, but I really want to read this. I am so insanely excited to try this. I talked about this last year when I first bought it from Book People in my like book shopping in Austin vlog. And at that point I was like super excited to start it and I didn't really know anything about it. And ever since I've heard such good things about this series from you guys specifically, like in the comments, you guys love to talk about this book and basically just like hype it up. And honestly, I'm insanely excited. And like I said, for whatever reason, this has just like been on my mind and really have just been wanting to escape into this book. And this girl, whatever she's doing right there is what I want to be doing right now. So I think that's probably why. And on the front, it says Outlander meets Camelot, a sweeping and magical tale. So I'm pretty sure, I mean, this is just my guess, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be about a girl that kind of has to like go travel away, ends up in this like new world or new society or new something with a bunch of new characters. And I'm pretty sure that there's like magic involved in this story. I really kind of want to go in blind. I don't want to know too much and kind of be fully surprised by the actual story itself. But I do know this has been around for a little while. And like I said, you guys have hyped it up so much. So I am, wow, so happy that I picked this. I had no, see, like I said, I had no idea that that was in that box. So that's super exciting. This is going to be the first book on our August TBR. And I was going to have this as one of my top picks to like remember to pick if I could from the TBR jar. So that's amazing. Okay, so now we can pick from this jar right here. I usually will pick 5, but as we know, that never usually, oh, I just dropped that back in the jar. I was gonna say, I never usually end up actually picking 5. I usually end up having to pick like either 6 or 7 just with the way things go. So this is a green one. So this is actually a prompt that one of you guys put in here. A book published before 2020, and this is from Katie R. So book published before 2020. So honestly, what first comes to mind are any classics, obviously. And then maybe like an older fantasy book. There's one that I really, really want to read, like a high fantasy book, and I can read it on my Kindle if I want to. And I've kind of talked about it a lot, which is Of Blood and Fire. I really, really want to read this book, but I don't actually think it was published before 2020. No, 2021. So that's not gonna work. I've also got Lord of the Flies, which I already know was published before 2020. I've got Jane Eyre, I already know that is published before 2020. Both of those are kind of like the 2 classics that I wanna read like sooner rather than later. And I also really wanna get to Muse of Nightmares, like really, really bad. Perfect. Published in 2018. So this is gonna be a book because I really want to read this. I finished Strange the Dreamer in June, and yeah, I really loved it. I've been really wanting to get to this, but I ended up like starting and finishing the series. It kept just kind of getting pushed back and I haven't been able to get to it yet. So this is gonna be the next book on the TBR. If you don't know, this is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer, which is this book right here. And oh, it's upside down. No, it's not upside down. Wow, that just like tripped me out because the little like firefly thing is upside down. Anyways, yeah, I read and finished this, like I said, in June, and I really, really loved it. And I kind of really wanted to get into this like right away, but I ended up just getting a little distracted by another series, which I'll talk about in my July wrap up. But here's our second book. That was really fun, like picking one of your prompts. I know there are a couple in here that are like really creative as well, so I'm really excited to try those out. And this is a prompt from last year. A book that matches the weather. It is hot right now in Texas, so I'm thinking like heat wave, hot, maybe like bright colors like orangey reds, which now Muse and Nightmares could have been really good for that. It also could be like interpreted like a summery book, or like maybe by the ocean, or like a seaside book. That can be interpreted in a few different ways actually. I'm seeing one right now that I think might be a good pick, but I'll also look around a little bit more. I have like kind of a stack of books here. Is The Lord of the Flies set on an island? I kind of feel like it is, because on like the front part of it, it's kind of like set in an island. I guess I could ask the internet. It says the Lord of the Flies is set on a deserted island somewhere in the tropicals. So this could be a really good option. Also though, I thought this could be actually kind of funny, but A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Peck. I've had this book for a while, and A Short Stay in Hell is just like living in Texas in July, August, and September. It's just like basically living in hell because it is so freaking hot. Honestly, I might just put this on the TBR and then just pick a second book too, because this is less, or like right at 100 pages. So it doesn't really count as a book in my opinion, because I can read this in like one morning. So maybe we could just do a double classic whammy, maybe do that. But I also want to show you the other options. I have the Lighthouse Witches, but I don't think this is like a summer setting, or at least it's not really giving. It's more like eerie, like cryptic-y vibes. So I don't know if this would really count. And then I have this book that I recently bought. I'm very curious about. I think this is in Florence. No, sorry, this is in Paris. And then this other one is actually set in Florence. And so both of these are kind of like I said, like yellowy, orangey colors, and are set in like warmer settings, like I said, Florence and Paris. I did really want to read this one because it's set in Florence and we're actually going to be visiting Florence. But honestly, I'm kind of thinking about just going with these two. I feel like it's just funny. Like this is set on a deserted island somewhere in the tropics, so it's going to be hot and warm. And then A Short Stay in Hell is just, like I said, living in hell in Texas during the summer. So I think we're gonna do that. Both of these have been wanting to read for a long time, so it could be a good idea to like kind of get them off the TBR. And I think I'm gonna fly through both of these, to be honest, because I think this is gonna be a pretty quick read. It seems a little crazy, and the font is really big. So that makes sense in my brain. So I think that's what we're gonna do. This is already turning out to be quite an interesting TBR. I'm gonna pick 2 prompts. So we have 3 more prompts to pick, technically. Here's a newer one. I feel like I have a good mix of prompts that are like active prompts and just like general prompts and stuff. A book with magical creatures. That is so fun. I love a book with magical creatures. First thing that comes into my mind is dragons. And there's a dragon book that I really, really want to start, and I showed you earlier. It's a Blood and Fire. I really, really, really want to start the series. What else? What other fantasy books do I have that I want to start? Honestly, there's like not really any other series that I want to read more than this one. So I think this is gonna be it. I think this is gonna be the next book on the TBR, and I'm incredibly excited to start this. I've had this book specifically on my TBR for like 3 years, not even kidding. Like it's been on my Kindle downloaded for like 3 years, and I ended up buying the physical copy last year, I think, and still haven't read it. And that was my like motivation to actually read the book, and I still haven't read it. And I've just heard really, really good things about this recently because he's gotten traditionally published. And it's just kind of like going around like wildfire right now. So I really want to read it and just kind of see what all the hype is about. It also has like really pretty dragon pictures in it. And I love a book with artwork. Well, here's a picture. It's of a dragon egg. I love that. It's just so cool. it just makes me so intrigued by like what else this author decided to like put in his books. You know what I mean? So anyways, this is going to be the next book on the TBR. Got some good like fantasy books on there that I'm really excited about. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this is another green one. Should we wait? Because I don't want to pick all the green ones at one time. I mean, I guess we have to. Spin a color wheel and pick a cover that's that color. And this is from Ellen Andrea, I believe. Miss Ellen Andrea. I've always loved watching other people do these like color wheel ones because I've never done one before. So this is really exciting. It's just got your like basic colors on there, it looks like. Let's spin, see what we get. We got red. Red has kind of been the color of this whole TBR, it seems like. I have one. I have a few, actually. I wish that A Marriage Portrait was red, because I do want to read this, but it's like very much orange. So let me have a little peruse and see what else we have. A Muse of Nightmares would have been good for this one too. These are like all of the red cover books that I have that I want to read soon. Here they are. This is a new purchase for me. This is called The Women of Wild Hill. This looks really, really good, and the reviews looked really good online as well. And I just saw this one day at Book People, read the description, and I just thought it sounded really, really cool. And I love a good witchy book, so I picked it up. And yeah, I don't know, I just love the cover of this. But then there's also Red City, which has been on my shelf for a while. I thought I was gonna read this soon after I bought it, and I haven't read it yet, just because a lot of other series have kind of like taken precedence over this. It looks really, really good, and I've heard amazing things, and clearly the cover is red, so that could be a really good option. And then I got these two books, which are a little bit different. This one kind of looks orange on camera. Is it orange? This one actually might be more orange than red. Now that I'm looking at it, like next to an actually red book, this might be orange. Maybe we'll put that back. This one is a little bit outside of my comfort zone, I think. This is more of like a, is it a horror thriller fantasy? I don't actually know, but I think it leans more towards horror thriller, but don't quote me on that. But I remember reading this description at the bookstore one day, and like I said, it sounded really good, but a little bit twisty. And I've been enjoying that a lot recently in my reads. So I picked it up. Is there artwork in here? Oh, interesting. This is like a chapter header. Interesting. From what I gather, this is about like a few people, like a group of a few people that don't know each other go on a quest to figure some type of mystery out, maybe. It's kind of what I gathered, and with like some type of like horror elements to it, I think. But like I said, I don't actually know. So which one do I want to pick out of these three? I've got three fantasies. I've got two series that I'm actually starting. Maybe, do I want to read A Women of Wild Hill? I'm kind of thinking about this one because this is a little bit different than any of the other ones that we have on our shelves. And this is just another fantasy maybe series that I don't know if I want to start a whole nother series. I think I'm going to pick this one. A witty, spectacular, and timely tale of modern day witches waging war on the patriarchy, from fan favorite Kirsten Miller, the author of The Change and Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books. Okay, I'm sold. This is gonna be good. I am very excited for this one. Now we have one more prompt to pick. Is that two? Here's one. There's another new one from this year. It looks kind of short. A black cover. I have a lot of black cover books. Jane Eyre could be good for this one. Lighthouse Witches could also be good for this one, but it's probably more blue than black. I feel like this has more black on it. I do want to continue the Lord of the Rings series, and this is definitely like a gray black cover. I mean, I'm not that picky. I would say that this is black, like a black cover. That could be a good pick. And I'm going to continue like listening to the audiobook, so I could just like go ahead and put it on. Oh, it's okay. Honestly, I think that's what I'm gonna do, because I already have those two classics on the TBR, and I don't want to overwhelm my TBR, which is classics, just because I know that my typical, like my average is reading like one classic a month to every other month. And I don't want to like put it on there and just like actually not be able to get to it. So I think what I'm going to do is put the next Lord of the Rings book on there, because it's mostly a black cover and I'm going to most likely read it anyways. And I've been really, really enjoying listening to these audiobooks and kind of like popping in and out of reading. Look how cool that is. The artwork in this book is just stunning. Here's another one. Yeah, just so pretty. So I think this is gonna be the next and last book on our August TBR. I still can't believe that it's August. This is quite the TBR, I would say. We've got some really, really good, really anticipated books for me on here actually. So A Blood and Fire, The Witches of Wild Hill. This is the Lord of the Rings book, A Lost Queen, Muse of Nightmares, A Short Stay in Hell, and then Lord of the Flies. Oh my God, I almost just had a disaster. So yeah, wow. This is going to be a fun month in August. A lot of these I can get on Kindle. You know, I'm pretty sure that I can get the majority of these on Kindle Unlimited, if not on the Libby app. So I think I'm gonna look into that for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys have been having a wonderful week and weekend, and I will see you guys next week on Saturday. Bye guys.